happening, everybody? How's it going? Happy Monday. Let's see, I see a handful of faces on here. What's up? Mary Beth, we got Sarah. Travis is driving. Hey, Brian. How are you, dude? Marsha. Jason looks like he's at the hospital. What's up, Aaron? What's up, Sarah, Audrey? Awesome. All right, shoot a quick message out to any chats that you're in. We're going to get started in a couple of minutes. Drop in the comments or in the chat where you're from and what have you drank for ketones this morning. I already had a Fueled by Female mango dragon fruit, which is like my new favorite, and I had a cherry limeade Radline before I went to the gym. It was delicious. Fueled by Female. Audrey, what's up, Audrey? Hey, Penny. All right. I'm going to drop a couple messages in some chats, and then we're going to get rocking and rolling. All right. We got San Antonio in the house. Where else are we from? PNW, what's up, Aaron? Ooh, Velvet Raz. I haven't had that one for a while. Sarah Green from Michigan, what's up? Chris Clark, how's it going? Washington, Florida, New Hampshire. Ooh, Cosmic Star, Pete. I always like some Cosmic Star. What's up, Emily from Minnesota? All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. For those of you I have not yet met, my name is Nick Martinez. I live out in Minnesota. Been doing drinking and sharing ketones now for the last 8 years. I used to be a full-time airline pilot with Delta Connection, was introduced to ketones by a flight attendant. And today we're going to talk a little bit about urgency and speed in your business, because if you have goals, if you have desires, if you really want this to be not just a business that supplements your drinking of ketones or supplements maybe some of your grocery bill. If you want this to be something that creates some financial flexibility in your life or financial freedom in your life, you have to create urgency. You have to create speed. You have to be a little bit more intentional maybe than you have been over the last 6 months. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm actually really fired up and excited about this conversation. And it came as a result of a team call that we had last week. And it also came as a result of the playbook that we had in Seattle. So speaking of playbooks, if you were in Seattle at the playbook, type I was there. If you were in Atlanta, type Atlanta. Those were the most recent 2 playbooks we had in September. I know there were a bunch of you there. Let's see, we got Atlanta, Lynn, Mitzi, Aaron was in Seattle. Frank was in Seattle. Josephine was in Atlanta. Awesome. Sarah was in Seattle. So we have 2 playbooks coming up. We have one in St. Louis on the 21st for anybody that's in the Midwest. Pretty easy flight for anybody that's in the center of the country. And then the second playbook is November 4th, and it's up in the Northeast in Boston. Anybody on the East Coast, that's a pretty inexpensive, quick plane ticket. It's also a pretty fast drive if you're in the Northeast. I always forget how well central that area of the country is. Here it takes you 8 hours to get to Kansas City. There you can drive across millions and millions of people in 8 hours. So put those on your calendar if you're able to come, and you haven't seen the link to register, make sure you get registered ASAP. The St. Louis hotel block is selling out pretty quick, and I know Boston's hotel block is just being released, and tickets are available now. It's $37, I think, is the early bird pricing. So make sure you get there. Now, the reason I bring that up, number one, the event is incredible. You're going to meet so many great people. You're going to learn so many great things. In fact, if you were in one of the playbooks, type one thing that you learned in the chat. Just share what was one thing either that you learned or that you've applied since then that's made a difference in your business. Because what I love hearing is all of the success stories of like, oh, I didn't realize it was this simple. I didn't realize it was this easy. I can actually do this. And I keep hearing, oh, this person, I got a new customer, I got a new promoter, or I started to reach out to people and actually like approach people about ketones rather than just wait for them to come to me. And it's just powerful. So have some fun reading those comments because they are powerful. What is your biggest takeaway or biggest lesson or something that you applied? Please type it in. Use trial packs to build your business, have more voice message or phone conversations. Please open up to all for Zoom. I mean, virtual is great, but you got to get there in person. You got to get there in person. All right. So the subject of today's Zoom is all about speed and urgency. And in Seattle, Sarah Ramos, who was the host of the event, and I were having a conversation. And Sarah's got a little bit of confidence when it comes to talking to people in public and just having conversations and giving people ketones. And one of the things that when I was talking to Sarah, and she's just like, Nick, I need to grow this. We need to create a little more speed in my business. We need to get some urgency and get some energy going. I said, Sarah, that's up to you. And I gave her a challenge. And the challenge was, over the next 5 days, I want you to hand deliver or hand out or give 10 people 1 packet of ketones. And this kind of goes against some of the stuff that we talk about, because we always talk about the value of selling samples, the value of trial packs. And trust me, I believe in that. But hear me for a minute as I explain the thought process behind this and how you can create speed in your business with it. So Sarah's challenge wasn't to go sell, 10 people 5-serving trial packs. It wasn't to go post on Facebook. It wasn't to go try to, just get people to come to her. It was for her to just take action, right? Her to find 10 individuals who had not yet tried ketones and get them into their hands. And she was able to, over the course of the next week, accomplish this. But it wasn't something that came easy. In fact, she is on this Zoom. Sarah, if you're able to come off mute and say hi to me, do so. You might be with your kid or driving, but let's see if she can. I didn't prep her for this.
I'm here.
All right. What's up? How's it going?
Good.
So I was inspired by the action that you took, and maybe just share a couple of the ways that you started to get ketones into people's hands and the result of that. Because think about this, guys. What if right now, between today and the end of the week, you had 10 new potential people that are now thinking about ketones as a result of action that you took? Would that be more than you had last week? Right? So go ahead and share with us just your experience with this challenge real quick, Sarah.
Yeah, for sure. So it gave me that challenge. I was like, easy, I can do that. Like, that's so easy. I got home from Seattle and my husband was like, your Jeep is broken. We got to get it fixed. And my mind just started thinking, crap, now I can't drive these ketone packets to the people that I had in mind. So then it was just a little bit more challenging, but I'm not going to give up on a challenge. So I just got super creative. I texted all of my neighbors. So anyone in my phone that said neighbor afterwards, I texted them and I just asked them if I had shook up ketones for them yet. I wanted them to experience ketones. We went and got our Jeep fixed and the guy had the hood popped open. And I just said, wow, this is going to take a lot of time and focus. Let me shake you up a ketone really quick. Do you want caffeinated or caffeine free? So wherever I was at, I was just making sure the person in front of me was drinking ketones. I went to a pizza shop to get sushi with a friend and the manager was super busy. And I was like, man, you're so busy right now. Let me shake up a ketone for you. Do you want caffeinated or caffeine free? And I just had bottles of water in my car. So if I was borrowing my husband's car, it was in his car. If I was with a friend, it was in her car. And then it just made it so I couldn't fail. So I just reached out to people. And then I had 15 instead of 10 by the end of my challenge.
I love it. So Sarah literally went to her neighbors and said, hey, you need to try this stuff. So here's what's interesting. Thank you, Sarah, for sharing that on the spot. Here's what's interesting. Sometimes we get so caught up in having, do we sell it? Do we give it away, that we just don't have the conversation or we don't initiate it, right? And I always have a rule of thumb. When I was flying airplanes and I was flying with a guy, and he would say to me, Nick, what's in your water bottle? Because usually I'd put it in a water bottle in the cockpit. Flight attendants would give us these bottles of water. I'd drink some of it out of it. I'd put it in there, shake it up, and he'd be like, what is that stuff? I'm like, here, I got one for you. Try this stuff while we're here. So he'd be drinking ketones in the cockpit, and they'd be like, well, how does this work? How do I get more? And then I would say, hey, I've got 5 or 10 in my suitcase. I can sell you a sample pack if you want. And immediately, like, he's reaching into his wallet, he's giving me $40. Like, he wants those ketones. So it's an easy way to start the conversation. Same thing if I'm in an Uber, if I'm going somewhere, if I'm traveling. I generally am not having a 30-second conversation. They say, well, like, tell me more about this. How is it good? I usually say, here you go. Try one. And then the next step of the follow-up is, here, I've got 5 or 10 I can sell you. Or here's my website. Best values to buy our Nat 20 variety box. How do you want to get started? Okay, now I gave this because Sarah had so much fun with this challenge. We were on a team call on Wednesday night, and we were just talking. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to challenge everybody on this Zoom to go and get trial packs into people's hands, to get that single sample pack into people's hands. And I just wanted to see what happened. Worst case, people gave 10 sample packs away, and it fell on deaf ears. But I knew that wasn't going to be the case if people were sure, like, were ensured that they did something in the process, meaning they got the person's information, right? They took a picture with them, they made it fun and exciting, and they followed up. So I have a couple individuals who are going to hop on and just share their experience in doing this, and I'm going to ask them some questions in the process. So the first we have is Charity. Let's see, Charity, if you want to come off a mute.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, there you are. All right. First off, introduce yourself. How long have you drinking ketones? Where are you from?
I am Charity from Tennessee, a very small town about halfway between Memphis and Nashville. I have been drinking ketones since April and sharing them since July 1st.
Awesome. So Charity is a relatively new promoter, and she's been crushing it. She hit MVP 1, MVP 2, MVP 3, and she just last month hit rank 3. So congratulations, Charity. Way to go. So tell me, with this challenge, how have you been working to get your single trial packs out? What have you been doing? Start with that.
Okay, so I just made it my goal to take action. I work from home when I'm not traveling, so I'm literally had to make myself get out of the house on Friday. And I'm like, my goal was to get all 10 packs in somebody's hand on Friday, but I only made it to 7 because I had such good conversations that I literally ran out of time to get to 3 more people. My son's a fireman, so I went to their fire station and took them some of the Mitoplex Plus, which some of the trucks were gone. So it was only, my son's been drinking them and he's been telling them, but the other 2 guys that were there, they shook up ketones and drank them right then. I gave them some, they got called out while I was there. So then I'm like, oh, when you get back, drink the Mitoplex. Because it was hot and hydration is a really big deal for them. And I'm trying to think where I went next. I went to just one of the, gym, like 9 Round Fitness or whatever in Jackson, popped in, talked to the manager. We're working on trying to come in on a Saturday when they have a bunch of classes and be doing a tasting there, because he feels like his members would be so excited to try it. But another one, just like walking in the door. I just took the courage to walk in the door and be bold and talk to this guy that I've never seen before. Is probably the age of my children, but I didn't care. I just gave him the spiel, gave him some ketones, and got a number, and just got it out there. Then I went to a girlfriend of mine's office, and there were 3 ladies in there. One was absolutely dead set not, but the other 2, Christy and then the other lady working in there, Monica, they were like, yeah, let's try. They had just went and bought a load of tea, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you knew Christy. I had to text Christy and make sure she was there. I'm like, you knew I was coming and bringing some ketones. You just went out and wasted $11 on a loaded tea. And so I went through the value of how much they could be saving by drinking ketones and all the benefits. So that was really exciting. And both of them have children that kind of struggle with attention. So I had some of the night lights with me, handed out some of them where they could mix it, shake them up for their kids the next day and see how that helped. And then I was at Walmart, and so at this point I was at like 5 people, and I'm like, I'm going to get my last 5 at Walmart. Well, I had such big conversations in Walmart grocery shopping, in the produce aisle, and then in the meat department, that I just literally ran out of time. But it was such an amazing. So that was my first 7, and then I did 5 more the next day while we were watching football. And some of those I had a couple of girlfriends that had commented on one of my posts, about the different flavors or whatever. And so I took them the flavors, and I'm like, I want you to try this. Well, then some of the guys that I was not even thinking would be anywhere interested, they come over, they're like, okay, so I need to know about this. So they got some samples, and it just like grew. But the biggest thing was just having the courage to start the conversation, just getting out and actually doing it. Nobody was rude or anything. It was actually a lot easier than I expected it to be.
Love it. So tell me, because I'm sure people are wondering, what did you say to these people?
What their favorite flow, it just depended. I knew the guys at the fire station hadn't tried them. So I tailored each conversation kind of based on where I was. At the gym, it was about energy and muscle endurance. But started out with, have you ever had ketones? What's your favorite flavor? Each conversation was different, but I always started with, what do you know about ketones? Or what's your favorite flavor? Have you tried these yet? Just something, to kind of grab their attention. And then they would be like, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're missing out on this.
I love
and took
it.
it from there.
I love it. So out of all these conversations that you've had, are there potential people that are going to either buy a trial pack, or have they already, or any customers? How's it looking?
It's looking, there's, every one of them are potentials. A couple of them, like Leanne, was going to mix hers up today because she wanted to see the focus part of it while she was at work. So some of them I'm just in the follow-up state, like following up to see where they are and what their experience was and that sort of thing.
Awesome.
But yes, all of them, like the ones that drank it right then, were like, man, this is really good,
That's great.
And I'm like, yeah, so it's just doing it.
Charity already has 4 new customers for the month. She's already cranking, and now her funnel is full for follow-up for the rest of the month, to invite people to the lives, to invite people to get started when there's some sort of offer going on. So awesome job, Charity. Way to take the bull by the horns and just create energy. I love it. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
You'll be hearing more from Charity, I am sure. Here's the thing. Here's what I heard Charity from her story is she brought energy to the conversation, and she just brought the conversation to people, right? There was no rhyme or reason. A random gym she walked into, Walmart, right? Her son's firehouse. Like, we all have opportunity to go have conversations and start them. We just have to do it. The sooner that we do it, and the more that we have in a short period of time, guess what that does? That creates speed, that creates energy. And the more energy that we create, then the people just start showing up. Why? Because you start to see them differently. You start to think differently. You start to feel a little bit more vibrant, more excited about this business. And that creates attraction into your life. So let's hear from another one. We've got 2 more that are going to share. I think these are just powerful awarenesses. Mitzi Lowe, we heard from her, I believe, last week about hitting rank 4, and she's crushed her own health journey. But Mitzi, share with us a little bit about your journey in handing out trial packs.
Hey, Mitzi Lowe here from Murphy, North Carolina. So, it's like Charity. I just went out, and when I had things to do and just was looking for people to share with. I shared at a gym. It was easier when I had Christina with me last week. Just having that extra support there. However, she left me on Thursday or Friday morning, and I still needed 10 or 4 more people to get to my 10. And Saturday, I went to a festival and I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to finish my 10 today. And I wanted to do more. But I just looked for people who, that I felt like might've been open to talking to me. And one lady I had asked to use her little stand to mix my own up with. And so of course that made her curious to be like, well, what are you drinking? So I shared with her and she shook hers up right there. But I will say today I was out doing grocery shopping and, I still having to push myself to actually have the conversations. Sometimes I feel like, does it not get any easier? And I would say it definitely has gotten easier than it was a year ago, for me to talk to people, but I still have to push myself. And I'm like, we left Aldi and had gotten our stuff in the car. I was pushing the buggy bag and I'm like, I'm not leaving this place until I talk to one person. So I went back into the store and I went and asked this lady, I said, can I ask you a question? And she said, sure. And I said, are you drinking Ketones yet? And she said, no. And, but she did know a little bit about it. So we had a good conversation. She was totally open to the pack and trying them. And I just kind of did that same thing at the other stores we went to today. It's like, I'm not leaving till I talk to one person at least.
I love it.
I'm at 15 right now and I've had one place an order so far.
That's amazing.
Out of those 15.
Did they all think you're crazy? Like, who's this crazy lady? What's wrong with her?
A couple of them I thought I was, but.
and have you changed as a result? Are you any worse for it? Or are you more confident because of it?
I'm more confident. I mean, I do think it does get easier. It's still just having, getting that courage, like Charity said, just have the courage just because it doesn't matter. They can tell you no. I had a lady tell me no today. She didn't, I explained it to her. She didn't know what ketones or ketosis was. I explained to her. She's like, no, I don't need that. And I was just like, okay.
Now, the next level obviously is making sure that you stay connected with these. Are you doing anything to have their information or to connect with them on social media or?
I have every one of them. I have phone number. I took a picture. I even have went back and put their name on the picture so that make sure I know who is who, in my phone. And I've all the ones today I haven't sent a message to yet, but I will when I get off the phone. But everybody else I've already sent at least 1 or 2 messages to. And like I said, I've had one that's already ordered.
It's awesome. I mean, just think, guys, what if you just did 2 a day consistently for the next 3 months? That's 180 people that you'll A, have grown on Facebook with, B, have had tried to 1 serving of ketones. You should do the math on that. 20%, that's 36 new customers or promoters. 30%, I mean, that's a crazy number. That puts you in some of the top recruiters, right? How do you do it? You just have to do it consistently. You have to get a little bit out of your comfort zone. And I'm telling you, when you get that many conversations going, it just becomes natural. It becomes second nature. So thank you, Mitzi, so much for sharing. And I'm actually inspired because there's different personality types in the world, right? And you're either somebody that's like, oh, I love to talk to people. I'm vibrant. I can go talk to anyone. And then maybe you're like me in that you like to sit in the corner of the room. You might think I'm extroverted, but I'm actually not necessarily that way. I'm a pretty quiet, shy individual. So I have to push myself. You might be in that category where you have to like get into it a little bit more in order to go start having those conversations. So let's hear another one. We've got Christina Martinez-Williams, who's going to share just a little bit. She was with Mitzi. You heard her mention that. And now she's up in West Virginia. So she's not been in her own backyard per se, so couldn't just call people that she knew locally. So she's been taking a couple other strategies to get these packs out. So Christina, what's happening? How's it going?
Hey everyone. So yes, I live in Fort Washington, Maryland normally, but we world school, so we've been traveling the last month, and this is the end of our month. I'm actually in Jenna Guiney's house right now. She's on the call right now too. And so being with Mitzi was amazing, and I got to be present with her while she took pictures with people holding ketones. And that's so exciting because I got to be a part of the excitement, and then that fuels my excitement as well. And so I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Because how am I'm going from this place to this place where there's both promoters. And so I decided that we were driving 8.5 hours between Mitzi's house and Jenna's house. And I decided I have to get ketones into people's hands. And the only time that I'm in front of someone while I'm driving is at the gas station. So I literally told myself, I have to tell the person that is going to charge us for our water or our banana that the girls got ask them if they're drinking ketones and take a picture. And that happened. So I have 2 people from that. But then I was thinking, well, I can't go to the gas. I don't need any more gas. What else am I going to do? So I decided to put a post up saying, I don't usually do this, but I have a limited quantity of packs of my Mom Magic that I am gifting for people who want to try them, and comment whatever below. I'd put magic. And when they comment though, what I'm going to do, so that's attracting attention to this. And then when they comment, this is value, right? We don't usually give something away. If it's at that quantity, like it's a post, then it's even, I want to make value around it, and I have to have a picture because that's part of the challenge. So to add value and drive action even on the person who's receiving it side and make them want to drink it, they have to get on a video chat with me, and they're going to have to take a picture. Like I'm going to screenshot us together, and I'm going to hold up a pack, and then they're going to be on the same video chat with me. And then I'll get to share with them about ketones, and then I'll put it in the mail for them. That is how and if that doesn't happen in the next day or so, then I'm going to have to go out and find people. That's just how it's going to have to be, that because I want this, not only because I'm excited about the outcome of it. I'm excited to get to push myself. I know that like Mitzi's talking about, it does get easier, but it's just like building muscles. Our muscles do not come overnight, and it takes a lot of repetition and to grow them, and even a long-term repetition of growth, because it's not my comfort zone to do this either. And so I have to constantly push myself to have the conversation and to remind myself of who I am. So I say my innate statement sometimes right before I have to open my mouth. And then I also say, prior to going out to look for people, that I'm going to find people who are ready for this. I'm going to find people who want this and who are ready to get started and who need what we have in our hands. And then that helps me to have my focus on looking for those people. And one thing I want to say about what I watched her do, we went to a CrossFit class that she never has been to before, and a friend invited us. It was Bring a Friend Day. So she had a reason to go, a reason. I think for me as an introvert, I need to have a reason. I needed to get gas. I had a reason when I'm in the post office. I had a reason to be in the post office, and then it gives me a little bit more. Even if I'm grocery shopping, I have a reason to grocery shop. So it gives me a little bit more reason to then open my mouth and talk. And with that, I get to. I saw Mitzi do that with 3 women in the class, actually 3 or 4 in our CrossFit class. And we didn't talk to all the people in the CrossFit class. She didn't give out a pack to every single person there. But because she opened her mouth there, when we were walking later, one of those women that we didn't give it to happened to be in the park, happened to walk by with her kids. And we saw her, and then she got to give that pack to her. That I don't think that would have happened if we hadn't been at that class. She hadn't opened her mouth to other people, and then that person unexpectedly showed up. I think that unexpected things happen when we get into action, when we set our minds and our focus on where we're going, and then we get to be excited. The more excited, like Nick talked about, then it opens up all of these other possibilities and people that we now have our RAS on, our attention on. That's it.
I love it. I love it. Jennifer says, I'm afraid of how I'll be approaching people I don't know. I'm a brand new promoter. What advice would you give her for approaching somebody she's not yet met?
I think see it as someone that you get to add to your community of people that you know, and you just get to start conversation as a human. It doesn't have to always be about ketones right away. For this particular challenge, it needs to be, because we're giving that. But it's the best question that I always have, and that I always go back to, and that we've all learned if you've been in training at all with this community, is, are you drinking ketones yet? Because it is the easiest question that has a yes or no answer. It's an easy answer, and it can come out of my mouth without feeling weird. It's just, are you drinking ketones yet? And they say no. Often though, what I find is that if I approach, like when I went to the gas station and I approached the cashier, I just asked, how are you? And not everyone gets asked, how are you? Wherever they are, they don't get asked, how are you? And when they answer, usually they answer with something of one of the things that ketones helps with. So the people at the gas station said, I just feel, one woman said, I'm really scattered today. I'm all over the place. I said, oh my gosh, are you drinking ketones yet? You need the focus from ketones. The other man said, I'm really low on energy today. Oh my gosh, are you drinking ketones yet? So even just asking the question, how are you? And being a kind person who's interacting with just saying, hi, how are you? Creates opportunity for a conversation that leads you quickly, usually. And if not, it's just asking it. And who knows, I'll never see people again, or I'm going to be following up with these people that I'm going to see. But I don't know that I'll be in the same gas station as again, but they ended up telling me things about their lives that were of need for them. And I got to experience humanity and be a part of community in that way. I don't know if that makes sense, but
It's good. I like it.
Can I add something?
Please.
One of the things I did today that just kind of took it off of my shoulders a little bit was that I have been challenged to give out these packs. Do you mind if I share it with you? So it just I just kind of felt like it took it off, that weirdness kind of helped to take that away a little bit. So, and then it may also made them a little more willing to, okay, well, let me listen to what, she has to say, kind of thing.
It's a great point. If somebody else is telling you to do it, it's their fault, not yours. You have deniability. Hey, I've been challenged to do this. The irony is, if you had a job in sales and you were like, you had to go sell something or you had to make phone calls, it'd be pretty easy to do that because this company is paying you to make these phone calls. So it's your job, right? The only difference here is you're doing it by choice. Somebody's not like saying you have to do this today as your job. So let me ask you this in the chat. If talking to people in public is natural to you, type natural. If you're a little afraid, type little afraid. If you're like, if you're completely, it's just not your jam, type not my jam. I'm just curious. Little afraid, natural. I mean, we got little afraid. Not, Sarah says not my jam. It's not my jam, to be perfectly honest. Not my jam. Cool. All right, so for those of you that are a little afraid or it's like completely not your jam, my advice to you is just start having conversations with humans without the intention of ketones, because then you can become way more authentic. If you're just trying to figure out how do I get ketones into this, it can oftentimes, it's not real. It's not normal. So we just got to get you, just like me, I've had to do this, smile and ask them a question. How's your day? Like Christina just mentioned, smile and say something. And you're going to find that as you do that, if you just challenge yourself to do that, you can do that 5 or 10 times a day, anytime you go out. Then what you can do is you can start asking the question, are you drinking ketones yet? So powerful stuff, guys. This right here, this exercise is something that literally can revolutionize your business. If you're brand new, what you're going to want to do is apply what we just talked about to your 10 closest friends, right? Who do you like and care about the most? You should give them a pack of ketones and tell them about this. Why? Because it's going to change your life, their life. That's what I did in the beginning. It was my mom, it was my dad, it was my sister, it was my buddy Greg, who was a pilot, my buddy Floyd, who was a pilot. Like I just went through my friend Liz, my friend John. I literally called them all up and say, hey, I've got this stuff. I'm coming over to your house. I'm going to shake it up for you. You're going to love it. When can I be over? And I had urgency and excitement. I wanted them to learn about this. If we bring that urgency to this, guess what starts to happen? It creates speed in the business. If you've been in for 6 months, you've been in for a year or 6 years, You may have to reinvent that speed. That's what this exercise is doing. Why? Because after you've been in for a year or two, you stop having urgency. If somebody across town says, hey, I'm interested in ketones, instead of you hopping in the car and driving them a pack, you say, hey, well, I think I'll see you next week. Or I'm going to see you at the end of the month. I'll bring you one then. Or, hey, let me see if I can drop some in the mail. I'm going to mail it to you, even though it only take me 30 minutes to get to you. You guys know what I'm talking about? I sure do, because I'm guilty of this. I am guilty. So what do we all do from here on this Zoom? We start taking action. I mean, there's 80 people. What if there was 90 people on the Zoom at the beginning? What if 90 people over the course of the next 3 days all got 10 new conversations going and 10 people trying ketones? You get that's 900 conversations. That's insane, right? What if you did 10 a week yourself for a year? That's 306. That's a lot of conversations, right? What if you taught your team to do the same thing? That's the duplication. That's the replication that starts to create an explosion in this business, creates momentum, creates lifestyle income. It's not complicated. It's literally just having a small group of people doing that and then teaching the ones that came in as a result to do the exact same thing. So happy Monday to you all. Let's get registered for those playbooks. Don't forget, we are doing the calls or the lives on the Prove It Facebook page Tuesday night, Thursday night. This Thursday is going to be really fun because we're going to do it live from Cancun. It's going to be how to travel and have fun in your side business. Like, it'll be really neat talking about how you can earn a trip. And I know a bunch of you are coming and going to see us down there. So thanks for being on. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Charity. Thank you, Mitzi, for sharing. Appreciate all of you. Hope you all have a great week. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.